has the power to change the world. It has the power to inspire. It has the power to unite people in a way that little else does. It speaks to youth in a language they understand. Sport can create hope where once there was only despair.
That is Nelson Mandela, the President of South Africa, world hero. Hi dear students, after a long time again we start our online classes. Welcome to English online class. This video has been recorded as part of ICET Public School online classes. Today in this video we are going to learn about Nelson Mandela. So first of all, I will give you a brief biography of Nelson Mandela, who was he and how he became the President of South Africa, a person became a world hero and to the world, and it was all his work and all the things related to Nelson Mandela. I will give you just a brief description. After that we can move on to the textbook. I request to all the students, please take your textbook in your hand and open the lesson childhood memories. Already you have tried to do that one. I gave you as an assignment to take a class, but the thing what happened that finally when I received your videos and all, it was not up to the mark which I felt, frankly speaking. So that's why I myself doing this video for you, childhood memories. Just you may listen to this class. I hope you can understand the lesson very well. We will complete the lesson today itself. Please watch this video. He was born in 1918. He spent 27 years in prison from 1962 to 1990 for trying to put an end to the pro-apartheid government in South Africa. After he left prison, he fought for human rights and a better future for people in South Africa. He became the first black president of South Africa in 1994. He retired in politics in 1999. He died from a lung illness on the 5th December 2013. He was very famous for his long fight against South Africa's bad government and their racial prejudice. He was respected for being very brave and wise and bringing people together to live in peace. Mandela wrote a book about his struggle named Long Walk to Freedom. Okay, now we can look into the text. The childhood memories of this great personality, Nelson Mandela. So in this textbook, he is recollecting some of his memories, what he had when he was a child. So I shall read the paragraph wise paragraph, and I will give you the summary of it. You can look into the textbook. Everybody please take the textbook, open page number 52. I am reading from the beginning onwards. I will show the text also on the screen. We can look now. The first paragraph of the lesson, it starts like this. From an early age, I spent most of my free time in the world playing and fighting with other boys of the village. A boy who remained at home, tied his mother's apron strings, were regarded as sissy. At night, I shared my food and blanket with these same boys. I was no more than 5 when I became a herd boy, looking after sheep and calves in the field. I discovered the almost mystical attachment that the Xhosa have for cattle, not only as a source of food and wealth, but as a blessing from God and a source of happiness. In this paragraph, Abraham Lincoln is recollecting his memories when he was at the age of 5. He's telling that how he was spending most of his childhood time was with the other village boys, playing with them. And in those times, a person, any boy, he is that just reminded home, that means holding the mother's clothes. So he is being considered as sissy. Here Abraham Lincoln is telling that is a playing area. It was well, an open land with grass, just like a meadow. We can imagine meadow, and like that open area, field, meadow. There, the students or the children, they were playing together in those times in villages. And any boy that is who is that means tied to his mother's apron strings was regarded. That means anybody just like hanging mother's cloth apron is regarded as a boy whom the other boys laugh at for being weak. Everybody will that means laugh at him. Such a boys we will have now, and so it is shame for them to be with home. And then sharing another thing that he used to sleep also with those boys only. And then at the age of 5 he was a herd boy in the sense that looking after calves and sheep. So he will get little money also for some time. So in those time it was the Hosa people, they were everybody, they will have animals, cattle or sheep, like that. They had a mystical attachment. It means that those people, the South African people, had a mystical attachment with that with those animals. Means they consider it as a spiritual energy giving thing to look after, so that everybody will have cattle. Not only they consider it as not only as a source of food, but they consider it as a source of happiness to look after the sheep, calves, any cattle. So this they consider, they are looking after these animals not only for food and wealth, but for their happiness too, because they consider cattle, they give happiness to their family. Now we have an understanding level question. The question is this: that is Hosa means a tribe of people living in South Africa. How old was Nelson when he became a herd boy? Just now we said. You have options, that is 4, 6 or 5 years. How old he was? We know that just now only we said that he was 5 years old at the time he became a herd boy. Okay, now we shall look on to the next paragraph. Please you look into your textbook and mark this and what your understanding, and or you can mark at the margin of the textbook, so that it will give you the visual memory that will last long, and you can think and you can reproduce in your examination also. The next paragraph, it is like this. It starts: as boys, we were mostly left to our own devices. We played with the toys we made ourselves. We molded animals and birds out of clay. We made oxstone sledges out of tree branches. Nature was our playground. Very simple. He is telling that first paragraph we said that he was playing in veld, in plain open area with grass. There he used to play with village boys. The second, in this paragraph, he is talking about that what are the instrument, toys he used to play while he was a child. So he says that they themselves will make the toys using clay. They will mold animals, they will mold other materials and all. They will mold using clay, they will make it, and they will play with that toys. That was their toys for playing. And also, as well as they will make sledges also. Ox-drawn sledges means that just like in the picture shows that sledge pulled by ox. So they will make such kind of sledges also using the branches of tree. Altogether, for Nelson Mandela and the children of those times, the nature was the playground. Now, next paragraph, it says like this: I learnt my lesson one day from an unruly donkey. We had been taking turns climbing up and down his back. When my chance came, I jumped on and donkey bolted into a nearby thorn bush. It bent its head, trying to unseat me, which it did, but not for the thorns had pricked and scratched my face, embarrassing me in front of my friends. Like the people of the East, Africans have a highly developed sense of dignity, or what the Chinese call face. I had lost face among my friends, even though it was a donkey that unseated me. I learned that to humiliate another person is to make him suffer an unnecessary cruel fate. Even as a boy, I defeated my opponents without dishonoring them. In this paragraph, he gives a good lesson also. A new message also he is trying to convey to the readers. What he is telling that he learned a lesson when he was a child. What the lesson he learned, that they were playing with a donkey. The donkey was unruly, difficult to manage. That means very rough donkey it was. And all the village boys, their play was that they will get on the back of donkey and they will ride it. So one by one the boys were doing like that. When Nelson Mandela's turn came, at that time he climbed over the back of the donkey, and it was unruly and it bolted into a thorny bush, a bush with thorns, into a thorn bush, and it bent down the head, thereby all the bushes that pricked his face and body. So many scratches were there, and also the donkey tried to unseat Nelson Mandela from his back, and also he fell from his back down, and his face, he lost his face. He's telling that those time, even now also, Eastern people will have great sense of dignity. So to be means ashamed in front of other boys or other people, it is quite shame. So from that he learned a lesson. Now the donkey just made him shame. That he felt very much, that means lost face he felt. So he learned a lesson that to humiliate a person is very much, and is telling that to humiliate meaning bolted, and I already, humiliate means make shame. To make shame is another person is just like it is a cruel fate, should not do. Then he is telling that Nelson Mandela is telling that I defeated my opponents without dishonoring them. Even in the time of playing also, I defeat my opponents. I defeat my opponents without making him any loss of honor. That means I won't dishonor any opponents. Honoring them, I defeat them in the play, because dishonoring is very shameful. It is humiliating the other persons, so that I won't do that. This is the lesson he learned, not to humiliate anybody without any reason. So this is the lesson he learned from that donkey. This is one. Now we are moving in childhood, what he learned the next. After games such as this, I would return to my mother's kraal where she had preparing supper. Whereas my father once told stories of historic battles and heroic Xhosa warriors, my mother would enchant us with Xhosa legends and fables that had come down from numberless generations. These tales stimulated my childish imagination and usually contained some moral lesson. I recall once my mother told us about a traveler who was approached by an old woman with a terrible cataract in her eyes. The woman asked the traveler for help, and the woman averted his eyes. Then another man came along and was approached by the old woman. Now he is telling a story in this paragraph. He is recalling a story was told by his parents at the time of he was child. In childhood time, he's telling that. So this is the way they were playing. We said that using the clay and like that with the donkey and over a meadow they were playing. So after completing their play, they will come back to their home. In the home in the sense that they call a kraal. Kraal is a hut. In South African home is called kraal. And so where mother will be usually preparing any supper for them, and father also will be there. Father generally they will give any stories, inspiring stories or something he will narrate to, and mother also will give such kind of that means enchanting stories of Xhosa warriors. That means Xhosa means the people residing in South Africa. That's such South African Xhosa people, their warriors, great battles. The mother also will narrate that. Once upon a time, mother told a story like that. The story was that so these stories all will inspire them. The stories will ignite them, that energize them. The children from they will get the energy out of that story when parents are means narrating such kind of stories. Once mother told a story that about a traveler who was approached by an old woman in order to remove the cataracts. Cataracts means that the blurring of vision because of the scales or the other things, material over the eyes is vision will blur. So that that woman was approaching to an old woman to remove that because it looks ugly, and she did not remove it. We say that averted his eyes, and that man. So that when the old woman approached that man averted that turned away. So because it looks ugly, so he did not get ready to remove that. Then the story continues that then the another man came along along the way. Another man came, and this old woman approached that man to remove that cataracts from his eyes. So at that time, the story again continuing. Story did not complete. In the next paragraph, she asked him to clean her eyes, and even though he found the task unpleasant, he did as she had asked. Then miraculously the scales fell from the woman's eyes, and she became young and beautiful. The man married her and became wealthy and prosperous. It is a simple tale but with a strong message. Virtue and generosity will be rewarded in a ways that one cannot know. So the story continuing, in this story it says again that we said that that old lady approached to second person. That person, so even though he was not pleasant to remove the cataracts from that old lady because it looks ugly, as she told him to remove that, he did it. So suddenly, immediately, miraculously, unexpectedly, that cataracts get removed. The scales fell from a woman's eye. Scales means that a thick flake over the eye. That everything that fell from that old woman's eye, and when it get removed, so that automatically, miraculously, that old woman became young and beautiful and prosperous and wealthy, and that man married this prosperous and wealthy woman, and he also, his life also became very beautiful and very prosperous and very wealthy. So in this there is a message in the story. It's a story that Nelson Mandela heard from his parent while he was a child. He got encouraged from that. There is a great message. The message is that virtue and generosity will be rewarded in ways that one cannot know. We don't know how we get rewarded for our generosity. So this is the message. This is one of the examples of the stories what he heard and learned at the time when he was a child. So this is a story, we said that. Now we shall look into the next paragraph of the lesson. We are moving on. Like an Hossa children, I acquired knowledge mainly through observation. We were meant to learn through imitation, emulation, not through questions. When I first visited the homes of white, I was often dumbfounded by the number and nature of questions that children asked their parents, and the parents' unfailing willingness to answer them. In my household, questions were considered a nuisance. Adults imparted information as they considered necessary. So, in this paragraph, he is moving at the time, childhood time, another experience, a different experience what he had about knowledge, about schooling. He is going to just introduce how he learned. Nelson Mandela learned knowledge while he was a child. Those times, the village boys, how they were learning knowledge, to acquire knowledge through observation, not going to school. Observation is that looking at the great people and all, and through the stories told by the parents and their personal observation, they will learn that. That is the way of acquiring knowledge. So you can't imagine that. So when you are going and by bus, you will see many things. So you will observe and you will learn that one. When you are going the another way, you will observe many things and you will like that. Observation and learning, this was the method they used to acquire knowledge. And we meant to learn through imitation and emulation. Emulation means that effort to match the achievement. If anybody got any achievement, so the other boys also will try to do that effort to get that achievement. That is what called emulation. So they were doing imitation, or imitate the other people, or emulate other people, and they will get knowledge. Not through the questions. They won't ask any questions. They will not ask to anybody how, what, when, like that. They will not ask to anyone, because there is a reason. Then he is sharing another experience. Once upon a time, he visited a white home, people who are white people. So in that people, there were many children were there in that white people. So he is surprised, and to see that he is telling that dumbfounded, greatly astonished to see that the number and nature of the question that children ask their parents. That children, white children, are asking to their parents questions. Number of questions they are asking. Mother, father, why this, and why you did, and what, like, and when, like the such kind of many number of questions the children are asking about maybe anything, any matter. They are asking questions. And the astonishing thing, the surprising thing, not only that, one more thing, that parents' unfailing willingness, they are ready to answer to the any number of questions asked by the children of that white children, and they are asked, that parents, their unfailing willingness, that untiredly they are giving the answers also. Parents, Nelson Mandela is telling that in our home, when we are asking question to our, never we ask the questions. If we ask a question to our parents, for them it is a nuisance. If we question them, they consider it as a nuisance. Then how they will impart, they will share in pass information to us is that whenever the parents think that to pass an information is necessary, at that time they will pass. We are not supposed to ask. We are not expected to ask questions to our parents. This was the difference between South African children and white children. So for him it was another lesson. He great experience what he had at the time of a child. Nelson Mandela had this kind of experience also. So see the village difference and white people, the difference now, western and eastern difference also you can see in this paragraph. So now we are moving on to the next paragraph. One day, George Bekla paid a visit to my mother. Your son is a clever young fellow, he said. He should go to school. My mother remains silent. Once upon a time, a man came to my house. So, is an educated person. He told to my mother, your son is a clever boy, so that he should go to school. And that, so if he goes to school, definitely he can acquire much knowledge. He is such a clever boy. He should go to school. My mother did not give any reply to that suggestion what Bekla gave. So that Bekla just gave the suggestion, and my mother just remained silent, because there are many reasons behind that silence. Now, Do you think there is a possibility that narrator, this Nelson Mandela, will go to school or not? How do you think? Already you have read the lesson, that's why you know. But before reading that till this much, do you think that will he go to school or not? We can look into the rest of the story. We will come to know into a conclusion to the question. The next paragraph. No one in my family had ever attended school, and my mother was unprepared for Bakala's suggestion, but she did relay it to my father, who, despite or perhaps because of his own lack of education, immediately decided that his youngest son should go to school. So this was the reply of his father. So mother knows very well that it is not possible for sending this Nelson Mandela to school. So what she did that, because nobody attended in their family, no one has attended the school. So just passed this information to his father. Father immediately took it granted, the suggestion of that Bakala suggestion. Father took it granted and took an admission to a school and decided to send their youngest. Nelson Mandela was the youngest child of that family, decided to send the youngest child to school. And relay means just to pass the information, just send the information to father's consideration. And father took it granted and obeyed the suggestion of Bakala to send Nelson Mandela to school. Okay, now we can move on to the next paragraph. The schoolhouse consisted of single room with a western style roof on the other side of the Kuno hill. I was 7 years old, and on the day before I was to begin, my father took me aside and told me that I must be dressed properly for school. Until that time, I, like all other boys in Kuno, had worn only a blanket which was wrapped round to one shoulder and pinned at the waist. My father took a pair of his trousers and cut them at the knee. He told me to put them on, which I did, and they were roughly the correct length. Although the waist was far too large, my father then took a piece of string and tied the trousers at the waist. It must have been a comical sight, but I had never owned a suit that was prouder to wear than my father's cut-off trousers. In this, he is telling that how he went to school the first day of the school, how he prepared to go to school. He's sharing his experience, one of his childhood memories that. And finally, father decided to put him in school, and the school is not like the modern concept of school. It was in a home, a single room house, it is called. In that house, the roof was western roof, and that the decoration of that room was just like western. And so father told him that when you are going to school, you should not go like this. Those time he was wearing a blanket, just like from one shoulder to the waist they will tie, or they will pin it at the waist, at their waist. It was their cloth they were wearing while they were child. So they didn't have any other clothes to wear while going to school. Father told that you can't go to school like this. So do one thing, that father took his pair of trousers and cut the trousers at the knee. That pant he did cut at the knee so that he can wear it. The length will be almost equal. But the thing is that both the pairs, that leg, it was not exactly equal. It was roughly equal. It means that one was short, one was long, like that when he cut that pairs. So it became like that, and father told him to wear that. I want that. And the problem is that the waist, it was very loose. At that time, father took a string, just a thread like a string, he put at the waist and tied it there at the waist, so that it won't go down, and it is now okay. So altogether the leg was not equal, and it was very loose, tied by a string. Altogether it might have looked a comical appeal to those who are weaving that. So he was telling that I didn't have a new suit to wear than this I had only that one what my father gave to me, that also only one to wear to school. I want that one. I didn't have another suit to wear and to be proud. I was proud of what my father gave to me because I didn't have any other dress to wear to school. So this is what he is telling in this paragraph. So we shall move on to the next paragraph. On the first day of school, my teacher, Miss Dignay, gave each of us an English name and said that henceforth that was the name we would answer to. In a hood, this was the custom among Africans in those days and was undoubtedly due to the British base of our education. The education I received was a British education in which British ideas, British culture and British situations were automatically assumed to be superior. There was no such thing as African culture. Now he is talking about what was his education, syllabus of his education in this paragraph. He's telling that on the very first day in school, what teacher did first. In Africa it is like that only. Everybody, it is like that. Even now also in South Africa, when they are taking admission in schools, they will have their village name, African name also, Western name also they will have. School people, school authority, they will give, the school teacher will give one name. Already they will have one name. So besides that, the school teacher also will give one more name as a Western name. So what that name they will have is that African name. In school they will give a Western name. Like that, as usual, when Nelson Mandela joined the school, first teacher gave a name to him, that is what? Nelson Mandela. Actually his name was not Nelson Mandela. So the teacher gave him a Western name, Nelson Mandela. He didn't know that why the teacher gave that name, but he says that everybody, it is for everyone teacher gives name like this. So he received that and teacher will call in that name and he has to. And in a hood, that means that the teacher will call or cry in that name in school while teaching. So they will answer to that name. It was like that. And another thing is talking about the syllabus, that they were means practicing British culture, British language and British education. They were acquiring that because they didn't have any syllabus, proper syllabus. So that they were hiring the syllabus like British education. So he received a British education, British culture and British ideas. Automatically they will have he will have a British institutions, means British institutions were automatically assumed to be superior because all the schools they were practicing like that British culture only. There was no such thing as an African culture. So in schools they were not giving anything as an African culture. They were not practicing in schools. It means no means civics or anything related to African culture they were not learning. So this was his about his schooling. Now we said that how he prepared to go to school. In this paragraph, how was the first day, what the teacher did for him, and what was the syllabus he learned, he practiced. We discussed in this. Now we shall look on to the one question. With which animal do you associate the sound hoot? I said that hoot, the word. So hoot is the sound of an animal. So of which animal the sound connected? Hoot. You can reply to me what I will not give. I will give you the options. The first, penguin, owl or giraffe. Of you send to me in WhatsApp now, right now, the answer. Now I am moving on to the next paragraph of this. Africans of my generation and even today generally have both a Western and African name. That day Miss Dignay told me that my name was Nelson. Why she bestowed this particular name upon me, I have no idea. Perhaps it had something to do with the great British sea captain Lord Nelson, but that would be only a guess. Now he's telling the same message on the same thing only. Telling now that those time I didn't know that why the teacher is giving like that the name African. so of my generation, and even today also generally, that the people will have two names. One is Western name, one is an African name. The name which is given by the teacher is Western name, and the parents give the African name. It is like that. So, and he is telling that I don't know why my teacher best off, means my mother, why my mother gave that name, sorry, teacher gave Nelson Mandela to me. I don't know. I have a guess. Now he's guessing that maybe teacher thought that I have to do something with the great captain, sea captain, British sea captain. His name was Lord Nelson. So teacher might have thought or connected me with that Nelson. So that is why the teacher gave me that name. But that would be only a guess. This only my guess also. I don't know why the reason. So now I am Nelson Mandela, the president of South Africa. He was the president of South Africa also. So this is what the lesson, children. I hope that you have understood the lesson. So the video is a bit lengthy. That is why I very fast I would like to conclude this. And now I will give in your WhatsApp group, I will send the question answers. I will give you. So what you have to do, that you have to just write the question. I will show you the what you have to do, that the questions here it is given. I will send you the answers. You can also practice your own answers, no problem. And there is another grammar question in this, that degrees of comparison already I have taken in another video, grammar class, the 3 levels comparisons of the adjective. So that also we can practice now, do the rehearsals. In page number 57 there is another question, another lesson like that, simile and metaphor, and so that class I will take you later as another video. I will do that one. Page number 56 you can practice. You can write in the textbook itself. I will give you the right answers for writing. So this is what the lesson all talks about. I hope you have understood and enjoyed. Please give your feedback also, complete the feedback form also after watching this. Have a nice day. Thank you for watching me. Good luck.